Welcome to CISM Perspectives. I'm Dr. George Everly. Today I'd like to talk about CISM and psychological first aid, sometimes called PFA. In recent weeks, I've heard people say, well, should we be doing CISM or should we be doing PFA, psychological first aid? And again, I'm a little confused by the question. Why? Well, let's remember what CISM is. Critical incident stress management. It's an integrated, multi-component continuum of care. It's been recommended, the continuum of care aspect has been recommended as far back as 1990, especially in situations where you have disasters that have phases intrinsic to their trajectories. It only makes sense that the intervention should not be a catch-as-catch-can, but rather should be matched to the phases, psychologically speaking, of the disaster. So again, CISM is a continuum of care. But within the CISM continuum of care resides PFA, psychological first aid. So frankly, psychological first aid is one of the CISM interventions. So just to remind ourselves what some of those other interventions are, that probably the most common CISM interventions would be singularly, certainly the psychological first aid. We use a model called the SAFER model. There are many models of psychological first aid. SAFER is but one of them. You can do this face-to-face, telephonically, by email, virtually, etc. But CISM is far more than that. It's small group crisis interventions, large group crisis interventions, spiritual care, wellness, and certainly triage and referral to higher levels of care, counseling and psychiatric care. But you'll see, if all of these interventions constitute the palette of methods of interventions that one may choose from, it includes psychological first aid. So when one says, well, we don't do CISM, we do psychological first aid, it's certainly possible that they do CISM. They just perhaps don't know they're doing it. CISM is a continuum of care. As I've said, it's not a catch-as-catch-can system. Rather, it takes training to choose the best intervention at the best point in time for the given target audience or population. And psychological first aid can be a very powerful tool, but it is only one tool within the entire CISM rubric. Thank you for listening. I'm Dr. George Everly.